Welcome back, welcome in. And today we pose a question. Shakur Stevenson, too good or not good enough? And that question comes on the heels of his latest performance where he defeated Artem Harturian. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It was an easy shutout performance for Shakur Stevenson, like most of his victories are, but it left a lot to be desired. He wasn't able to put away Artem. He wasn't able to really string together any combinations that looked like he had him in danger or on the verge of getting him out there. It was just a clinic, like it's typically been for Shakur in all of his fights. He's just a technically sound fighter with a really strong defensive game. I think he gets a bit of a bum rap for his offense. I think people make it seem as though he's boring. I don't think he's the most exciting fighter, nor do I think he's a rock'em sock'em robot type. No one's going to confuse him with that style. But at the same time, I don't think it's boring to make other fighters look bad as you cruise to victory, right? Um, and he gets a lot of criticism, and the part of it I agree with is he hasn't shown much of a killer instinct outside of the Jamel Herring fight, which he fought a bit nasty towards the end and was able to get Jamel out. I believe that was the 10th round. But other than that, he just really hasn't shown that finishing closer style fighting that we usually associate with the top fighters in the world. You know, Tank and Bud and Inoue. These guys typically have the ability to send a guy home when it's time. Famously, Bud, if you remember the fight against Sean Porter, I believe it was the start of the 10th round, his corner tells him you're down. And Bud looks over and says, I'm down. And he gets up and puts away Sean Porter, right? And that's what you kind of expect from the top fighters in the world, the most elite. Which Shakur, I'm not sure if he is or he isn't at this point in time. So he has ran through his competition. He's shown no vulnerability. He's shown no real challenge. And he's at that point now where we need to see him in a 50-50 fight. And the truth is that can be said for a lot of modern fighters. And I know Tank kind of avoided saying that he didn't avoid, I'm sorry. He flat out said that he didn't think that fight against Shakur would be entertaining. And that's why he really wouldn't be looking towards it right now. But neither one of those guys has been in a fight with someone we think can challenge them or we think is going to beat them. And it's time that they start stepping up and facing those type of challenges. I don't know if Shakur Stevenson truly is this defensive stalwart and genius that he appears to be in his fights, or he's fighting guys who just aren't his competition. And to his credit, he's asked for tougher competition and he's just not able to get it. Now, this is a similar story we heard from Terrence Crawford in his time with Top Rank. So I'm not sure if that's the same thing that's happening here. And the two of them are close friends. So there might be some residual where Top Rank felt that Bud didn't leave on the best terms. He was very inflammatory on his way out, and they're kind of punishing Shakur by association with Bud Crawford. But he's not fighting guys that he should be, and we don't know if that's him or if that's his promoters. But we're going to find out because this was the last fight on his contract. So if he resigns, we're expecting he's probably going to get the winner of Tank and Loma if that fight goes through. If he signs somewhere else, he's going to be lined up for a title fight somewhere. But he's overdue for a step up in competition so we can figure out, is he that good or is he just not good enough? And you know I say he passes the eye test. He looks like a complete fighter. Yes, he knocks some knockout power, but I think that's a bit overrated if you're making your making your opponent constantly miss while teeing off on him. But it is time. I will say this in Shakur's defense. And I would also say the same thing about Teofimo Lopez as well. They are two of the best fighters in the world who receive a lot of internet criticism from quote unquote fans, but I don't hear a lot of other fighters calling them out. Do you? I don't know the last top ranked, no pun intended, or elite level fighter who called out Teo. I don't know the last top rank or elite level fighter who called out Shakur. Saying that a guy's style is boring and that's why you don't want to fight him is not a credible reason to avoid a fight with a top elite fighter, especially a champion. At this point in time, the one thing Shakur definitely has going for him is he's a multi-class weight champion. He's a multi-weight class champion and current champion right now. So there's no reason why other champions shouldn't be fighting him. None. Unless they truly believe they can't beat him because I don't want to fight fighter A because he's boring. Just really is not an excuse. Like I said before, at this point in time, it's much needed for a step up in competition for Tank and definitely for Shakur Stevenson. It's time for these guys to fight guys that we don't know if they're truly going to beat and are 50-50 fights. That's how you know who is the best at whatever given the weight division.